Today's video is sponsored by Nobility.co.uk, the leading company in selling legal titles in the United Kingdom. Get a 10% discount in any purchase by mentioning Death Row. Michael Duane Zack, born on December 14, 1968. His 9-day crime run began in Tallahassee in June 1996, where he was a regular at a bar. When Zack's girlfriend called and said he was being evicted, the bartender loaned him her pickup truck. Zack left with it and never returned. Prior to the murder of Ravon Smith, Michael Zack resided in Tallahassee, Florida. Zack became a regular at local bar and befriended the bartender, Edith Pope. Through various conversations, Zack revealed that he witnessed his sister murder his mother with an axe. Feeling sorry for Zack, Pope gave him odd jobs to do around the bar. On June 4, 1996, Zack's girlfriend called him at the bar and informed him that he was being evicted from her apartment. Pope let Zack borrow her car to retrieve his personal belongings, and he never returned. Zack drove west to Panama City, where he met and befriended Bobby Chandler at a local bar. Chandler owned a local construction business and hired Zack to work for him. Once Chandler discovered that Zack was living out of his car, he offered to let Zack stay with him temporarily. On June 11, 1996, Zack left Chandler's home in the middle of the night, stealing a couple of guns and $42 from Chandler's wallet. Zack pawned the guns in Nashville the following day. Zack then drove to Okaloosa County, stopping at another bar. There he met Laura Rosillo. Zack and Rosillo left the bar together and headed to the beach to reportedly do drugs. Once at the beach, Zack attacked Rosillo. He hit her head against one of the tires and tore her clothing. Zack strangled her and hid her body behind a sand dune, kicking dirt over her face before he left. The physical evidence suggested that Rosillo was sexually assaulted. However, the semen found in her body could not be linked to Zack. Zack proceeded to Joe's Dirty Bar near Pensacola. It was there that Zack met Ravon Smith, one of the bar's employees. The bar was not too busy that afternoon, giving Smith the opportunity to spend her time visiting with Zack. Smith called her friend Russell Williams and asked him to come to the bar because she was bored. Around 7 p.m., Smith, Williams and Zack left the bar together. Prior to leaving, Smith called her live-in boyfriend and told him that she would be working late. The three drove to the beach where they smoked marijuana and then later, they returned to the bar. After Williams departed, Zack and Smith proceeded to her house. Immediately after entering the house, Zack reportedly hit Smith over the head with a beer bottle. Glass shards and blood splatter sprayed onto the interior of the door frame and the adjacent love seat. Smith ran down the hall to the master bedroom, leaving a trail of blood behind her. Zack followed her into the bedroom and sexually assaulted her there. Smith then staggered into the guest bedroom and, upon seeing this, Zack smashed her head down onto the wooden floor. At this point, Zack retrieved an oyster knife from the kitchen, returned to the guest bedroom where Smith lay and stabbed her 4 times in the chest. Zack took the knife back to the kitchen to wash the blood off of it and stuffed Smith's bloody clothes into a dresser drawer. He stole Smith's car, along with her television, VCR and purse. That night, Zack removed the license plate and some personal belongings from Pope's stolen Honda and abandoned it in a lot nearby. He then drove back to Panama City in Smith's car and attempted to pawn several of the stolen items. The shop clerk suspected that the goods were stolen and asked Zack for identification. Zack fled the shop and abandoned Smith's car. He was apprehended a few days later when he was found hiding out in an empty house. After his arrest, Zack confessed to the murder of Ravon Smith and to the Pope and Chandler thefts. At trial, Zack's defense counsel argued that Zack suffers from fetal alcohol syndrome and post-traumatic stress disorder, which are classified as a brain dysfunction and a mental impairment respectively. These conditions have been claimed to make Zack impulsive and cause him to be under constant emotional and mental distress. Zack was convicted in Okaloosa County for the murder of Laura Rosillo. He was sentenced to life. On October 3, 2023, Duane Zack III was executed by lethal injection. Duane Zack III, 54, was killed by lethal injection at 6:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, the 3rd of October 2023 at Florida State Prison in Stark. Zack died by lethal injection, a cocktail administered by the execution team that includes a sedative, paralytic, and a drug to stop his heart. The drugs were administered at 6:02, and he was pronounced dead by 6:14 p.m., although there were no visible signs of breathing after the first minute. On the same day, October 3, 2023, before his execution, Zack met with his wife and spiritual advisor. He declined the last meal offered to him, and the department did not say what the meal was. Prior to execution, Florida inmates may request a last meal. To avoid extravagance, the food to prepare the last meal must cost no more than $40 and must be purchased locally. Zack met with his wife this morning, but she is not allowed to witness his execution, prison officials said. Death row inmates are only allowed to have a spiritual advisor and a legal representative. Zack's family is not prevented from being outside the prison during the execution, however. Duane Zack III, 54, was killed by lethal injection at 6:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Florida State Prison in Stark. The double murderer was asked if he had any last words, to which he said, "Yes, sir." He then lifted his head to look at the witnesses and said, "I love you all." Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed Zack's death warrant on August 17, but his attorneys said at trial that he should not face the death penalty because he suffered from fetal alcohol syndrome and post-traumatic stress disorder. After a 3.5-year hiatus brought on by COVID-19, DeSantis has signed death warrants for 6 death row inmates in 7 months. Zack's execution was the 8th under DeSantis dating back to 2019, and the 6th this year after no executions in 2020 through 2022. There have been 17 executions in 2023, 5 of them in Florida, where there have been 104 executions since 1976. In April 2023, Governor Ron DeSantis signed legislation once again allowing death sentences to be passed by less than unanimous juries. DeSantis has made tougher, more far-reaching death penalty laws an issue in his presidential campaign. Thank you for watching Death Row.